The world within Fallout is an irradiated wasteland, where survival is a daily struggle and every moment can mean the difference between life or death. And in this everyday fight for existence, a relatively new phenomenon has emerged within the wasteland of the former United States that has slipped past the notice of the average person. This phenomenon would be the emergence and existence of psykers. The definition of a psyker is a person or creature that possesses a certain psychic power. This can be manifested in a multitude of different ways, ranging from premonitions, animal magnetism, to telekinesis. The appearance of psykers in Fallout has not necessarily been criticized, but acknowledged as creating story issues that do go against the game's settings by previous project directors. Despite this, their existence has been woven into the plot of nearly every entry to the series, rendering them to be canon within the in-game universe. Compared to other paranormal elements found within the series, psykers differ in that there is an in-game, logical explanation for their existence in most cases. The most common of these is primarily based on exposure to the FEV, or Forced Evolutionary Virus, that has allowed humans and non-humans to develop these abilities. This is most evident in the antagonist of the first game, the Master. Originally a regular human being, they were immersed in FEV after falling into a vat of it. Upon emerging, the Master found themselves to be physically mutated, but with an expanded arsenal of new abilities, chief among these, psionic powers. The Master was able to psychically assault individuals to the point of physical harm or death, as well as communicate with others via telepathy. Other examples of FEV-influenced psykers include the four subordinates of the Master and the Nightkin, who evidently possess some form of psychic quality. While it could just be dismissed due to their chronic schizophrenia, many of the inane comments that the Nightkin make have truth to them that they otherwise should have no idea knowing. Another, sort of different case is from Harold, a former friend of the Master who was also infected with FEV. Harold's is an interesting case, as his mutation essentially caused a living plant that talked to him to grow onto his body. This plant, which he dubbed Bob, eventually caused his body to become that of a tree. Harold was able to use the roots of his network to commune with wastelanders over vast distances, and his physical body eventually became that of an entire ecosystem. While it is a little bit of a stretch, I do believe this does fit the description of a psyker. A comparison would be that the FEV made him into the equivalent of the three-eyed raven seen in the Game of Thrones books. FEV in essence can just be used as a plot device to explain away anything out of left field in the Fallout universe. Towering behemoth, FEV. Schizophrenic knows what you had for breakfast, FEV. Mutant leader able to mentally bend the will of individuals, FEV. Science within the Fallout universe is not the same as ours, so within the context of the games, this is explainable. What I do find more interesting are the less explicable psykers, such as the various humanoids who lack any visible sign or exposure to FEV. The core examples of these can be seen from Bloomsea Poplar, Mama Murphy, and the Forecaster. Each of these characters appear to be regular humans, yet all possess unique psychic abilities that differ in intensity. Bloomsea Poplar is a disciple of the previously mentioned Harold, who is able to see future events that have not yet occurred. Mama Murphy is able to see things that were, things that will be, and even some things that are, right now. Her powers are mostly dormant, with the trigger being her usage of drugs. The Forecaster appears to be the most powerful of the three, possessing abilities in precognition, retrocognition, and mediumship, as he states he's able to commune with his deceased parents. His abilities differ, as they appear to be always active, and can cause him physical harm in their intensity. The only way he is able to dull his abilities is by wearing his medicine, a psychic nullifier. The origins of psykers seem to have originated from the outset of the Great War, which seems to suggest that the radiation, the FEV, or the event itself may have been a trigger of some sort. The only two pre-war residents who seem to show any sort of psychic qualities would be Professor Culvert and Lorenzo Cabot. It could be argued that the term of psyker may not directly apply to these two, as their powers are accessed through the use of advanced technology, rather than innate ability. Despite this, science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke coined the term that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And this would hold true, especially in relation to Lorenzo's crown, which was found within a lost city in Arabia 400 years earlier. Once he placed the crown on his head, it provided him with the powers of telekinesis, immortality, and immense strength, and is stated to have been created by a precursor civilization to humanity via technology or magic. Lorenzo even states that they're still able to communicate with him via the crown, although he does not know if it's truly them or if it's just their memories. Lorenzo is also basically insane, so anything he does say does need to be taken with a grain of salt. If Psykers are to be considered canon, the fact must be recognized that they exist for a reason. It's unknown if there's a Psyker gene that has been passed on through generations, or if it's just a randomly occurring mutation. My theory on the matter is that the appearance of Psykers signifies another step in human evolution, rather than just a general mutation. The Psyker abilities seen within the mutants, while potent, could just be considered as false starts, as they were activated by the FEV, rather than just allowing these abilities to develop over time. The fact that Psykers are found all the way across the post-war United States, from California all the way to Massachusetts, suggests that it's not a localized mutation, but more like an inherent trait. I might also just be blindly optimistic. Fallout 76 had no mentions of Psykers to the story. Previous game directors themselves have mentioned that Psykers create difficulty narrative-wise. I do also feel that too much of a focus on the area would kind of diminish the experience of Fallout from what it truly is. The games would be far easier, and probably more boring, if the player character could just yeet a Deathclaw with their mind. So it's probably best that maybe they're just left to the fringes of the in-game universe. But what do you think? Are Psykers just a mutation, a byproduct of the world saturated with advanced technology, or are they evidence of something more mysterious?